Good day everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be illustrating to you of this new application coming from Lian Li known as the L-Connet 3. In this video, I will be sharing with you the experience on how I install it and the issues that I've actually met on to show you how to resolve them. There will be another separate video on the Unifan controller, the Unifans and the Strimer Plus. Take note that I will be illustrating on those videos, right, like the effects, the PWM control on the fans itself, and the effects on the Strimer Plus. Before I do so, showing you the installation on L-Connet 3 itself, right, take note for those of you using Strimer Plus, this is the original controller. It will not work with the L-Connet 3. You will need to have the Strimer Plus V2 Controller, which I have an engineering sample. Now, Lian Li have chosen me to do the beta test for them. That's why they sent me this unit. So just wait for it. Probably I would say early May or mid-May. So don't rush to it. Besides this, right, I do have information whereby this Strimer Plus itself, right, there is an improved version which is the Strimer Plus V2. So do take note on that. Just a brief introduction on this L-Connet 3 itself. This is the dashboard, whereby you'll be ushered with all these stats like the CPU, the GPU, the RAMs, and the storage. So it will show you the temperature of your CPU and your GPU, and the clock speed and the fans, etc., and the RAM usage, the network, and the storage. And when you click on system specs, it will show you all the components you have installed in your PC. For fan and pump RPM, right, this is whereby you connect whatever control like the AL controller, the SL controller, or you have two SL controller or two AL controllers, it will list down over here, whereby it will list all the port over here. You can control the RPMs using this graph over here. I will be going deep into it on the next video, not this video. Next will be the quick or sync like things, whereby if you're lazy to do individually like the SL, AL, or the Strimer Plus, right, you can do them as a set. So as you can see, you can set this way. It will just follow. Next, the SL and the AL. This I believe you are familiar, which is similar to the L-Connet 2. So all the effects on the different ports. This is something new, which I mentioned. This is the Strimer Plus V2, whereby you need the V2 controller. And interesting thing is that you can set the 24 pin and the 8 pin, be it whether dual 8 pin or triple 8 pin, you can do that. And you can set individual strips over here, or you can set overall. See, if I were to do this, oh, over here, see? Or you can set it individually. So it's all up to you. See, I've set. Anyway, I'll go deep into it on another video, not this video. Coming to the settings itself, right, you can set this application to load when you start up the Windows itself or reboot the Windows itself. So all your profile will be saved and such. For the device itself, right, this is something whereby it's quite interesting. I would just illustrate on the AL itself. You can type, for example, port 1, right? The fans are actually for radiator. You can name it and you apply. So when you look at the pump or fan RPM, right, see, it will show you the stats. This is very useful. Then besides this, right, on the updates itself, as you can see, this application, right, is all in one. You can update the firmware and you can update the application itself. For more information, right, you can actually hit down to Lian Li's website on the L-Connet 3. It will tell you all the description. When I try to download the application from Lian Li website, the L-Connet 3, I run into problems whereby Windows prompt saying that the file is infected. So no matter how much I try clicking on download, right, the file will be removed off of my system. It doesn't download at all. I will show you how to resolve this issue. Then next will be the firmware itself. As you know that I've connected all the controllers into my motherboard USB header, which is the AL, the SL, and the Strimer Plus V2 controller. So when I did the update on the interface itself, I mean the L-Connet interface, I just click on update firmware simultaneously. one of my controller got pricked. So I will show you a safer way how you do the firmware for each controller at the later part. Looking on the list over here, right, these are the prerequisite hardware whereby you can have SL or AL controller, or you can have 2 SL controller, 2 AL controller, doesn't matter. And the Strimer Plus V2 controller, as mentioned to you, right, the original Strimer Plus controller does not work with L-Connet 3. You will need to have this V2 controller. For prerequisition of software, right, I would recommend all this application. This is actually not an application. You are required to check your BIOS version, make sure that it's up to date, and I'll show you why later. Then you will need to download the application called CPU-Z. This is to detect the what is the latest BIOS, which I'm going to show you later too. Followed by this Revo uninstaller. This is a very good application whereby it's meant to remove any application installed on Windows itself, clearing off all the leftover files and the registry, which I'm going to make use of this program to uninstall the L-Connet 2, the previous L-Connet version. Last but not least, as mentioned, I will show you how to go by resolving the issue whereby you can't download the application into your system. Then the next part I will talk about is if you face any issues, right, there is a proper way for you to log a case with Lian Li. So I'll show you what is needed and how you go by uploading those files. Let's get into it. Before you download and install the L-Connet 3 itself, there are instructions written on the official website itself. Is to ask you to remove the previous L-Connet program, be it L-Connet for the SL fans or the L-Connet 2, which is meant for controlling the AL and the SL. I do have the L-Connet 2 with me installed, so I will remove this. You can use the native method whereby you use the Windows uninstaller, but a clean way of doing that, right, as mentioned to you, this application known as Revo uninstaller, it will remove all the unwanted files or leftover files and to clear off all the history. So just download this application, which is over here. You can download the free version. I've actually downloaded and installed. Now I'm going to show you how I removed the application, which is this. So you will need to exit this, and on your taskbar, make sure you exit the L-Connet 2 first. Next, launch the Revo uninstaller. Then look for L-Connet 2. Double click on L-Connet 2 and you have this. Uncheck this, make a system restore because you're gonna remove it totally, so you do not need this at all. Just click on continue. This will prompt. So when this prompt, right, click on yes, it will just remove the application. It will tell you that it's successfully removed from your computer. Do not stop here. Select on advanced, click on scan. It will scan all the registry that is recited, or the leftover files recited in your system itself. So select all and delete. Again, select all and to delete. Once you have done this, right, reboot your system. I rebooted my system. I've forgotten to mention about the web address for Revo uninstaller. I will leave that URL in my description. You can just click on it and to download. Before you install, right, I wouldn't advise you to download and install first. The first thing you need to check, in fact, is your motherboard BIOS. Make sure it's up to date. Let me just show you why. This is my motherboard itself. And if you do scroll under the BIOS and firmware, right, if you do scroll down, if it happens that your BIOS is before version, which is mine 2007, if let's say my BIOS previously was 1803, if I'm still having this BIOS, right, I'm going to have a problem. Why? Because there are connectivity issues with the USB and there's a fix for it whereby I need to do the firmware. So with this said, right, how do you check what's the latest BIOS on your system itself? You can download this application coming from CPU ID. I'll leave the address in my description. Install it, and when you launch it, right, you will see this. Click on motherboard, the second tab, and look at the version. My version listed over here is 2603. So let me just go over here. See, this is past 207, as you can see here. In fact, I've actually done the BIOS update. So having to say this, right, the issue has been fixed. See, 2603. For those of you who actually do not know how to do BIOS update, right, you can refer back to the menu itself. So it should be page 56. Now it will teach you how to do your BIOS flashing of the firmware onto your motherboard itself. Some motherboard does come with this flashback button, which is located at the back I/O. If you guys want to know how to do the flashback, I do have a video for that. You can click on the top right hand corner and I'll just leave the URL over there. Now once you know everything is okay, next thing to do is to download the L-Connet 3 application. So right now, if I were to click this, right, and I want to download it, when the download is completed, right, I do receive a error message over here which says that I've disabled the notification, but it does give you a prompt. So when you look at the protection history, right, see, it's blocked, and this will cause you not able to download. See, my download is actually empty. So how do I actually go by doing it? Under the Windows security itself, right, and you might have installed the third application to detect viruses and such. You have to disable it. So on Windows itself, right, with the Windows security, or known as Windows Defender, right, you can click on, launch this program. Let me just restart. Launch this program from here, from the taskbar. Then click on virus and threat protection. Next, click on protection history. Then from here, right, it says severe. Click on this and click on action. Click on allow. Once you have done this, right, re-download the application again. So just to show you, it's still downloading. So as you can see that my download file, the image is over here. So once this is completed, right, you will have the download file over here. See, it's done. So next thing to do, in fact, is to extract this application here. I'll extract on my desktop. Then install the application. And run the application. Once the application have launched, do not do anything about it. Even you get a prompt saying to update the firmware or update the application version, just close this and reboot your system. Before I proceed, this is regarding about the malware or the infected file that you download from Lian Li, which is this L-Connet 3 itself. Rest assured, it's not infected, nor is it a malware. It's been verified by Lian Li. Just click on the FAQ. On this page itself, click on FAQ, and it will take you to this section here. So you can actually scroll down under L-Connet 3. Then when you look at this, antivirus detect malware when downloading. See, this is what the statement, the official statement from Lian Li. It's not a virus, nor is it a malware. So it's safe to download and to install. I've rebooted my system and this application automatically launched as by default, right? When you look at settings here, see, the auto run is on boot. So it will boot up by itself and to minimize on the system tray itself. Looking on this stats, right, yes, it does pull information like the temperature of my CPU, my temperature of the GPU itself, the storage and the RAMs and the network usage. It might prompt you to update your firmware on your controllers or even the application itself. For application, not a problem, you can just update it through here, which is settings and update. If there's update, just update from here. But for the firmware, right, kindly do not do any firmware updates when all the controllers are connected to it, because I pricked my controller, which I'm going to show you. This is what you will get for all your controller if there is a firmware update. So what I've done is to click on download simultaneously and to update them simultaneously, and I hit to a brick wall. I'll just show you what happened. As you can see, I've tried clicking on try again, but it failed. So best is not to have all the controller connected and to do the firmware. It's best to remove it, and I'll show you on my desk. As you can see here, these are the controllers, the Strimer Plus V2, the AL and the SL itself. Now, assuming this is in fact the motherboard itself, I know motherboard does not come with 3 USB header. Oh, speaking of which, in future, if you get the Strimer Plus V2 controller itself, right, you might want to get a hub for the USB to connect. This is actually a USB hub itself, and make sure the USB hub is powered with a SATA connection. Alright, back to the topic. Now, as I was mentioning, showing to you that I pricked my controller based on the fact that I've connected all together and I did the update. And it happened that the system itself, right, couldn't take it and it pricked my controller. So what you need to do, right, leave this on the motherboard itself is okay. On the controller itself, right, I would advise you to switch off your PC first when you do this. Once you have done that, right, remove the SATA connection of the controllers and the USB connection. Same goes to the another controller. So having to say this, right, leave only one controller that's connected, so you don't have to feather inside your case itself, just the controller itself. Then boot up your system, load the firmware. Once that is done and you've checked that it's working properly, switch out your PC again, connect to the second one, disconnect this, connect to the second one, and do your firmware. Boot up your PC and do the firmware. Once done, right, do the same step to your Strimer Plus V2 controller. Now, I know this is pretty tedious, but it's better safe than sorry, which it happened to me. I know that most of the end users right now, they do have successful rate, as in like having all the controller connect to it. Probably they have a very powerful machine, but I would advise to go this step to ensure that everything is done properly. In the event if everything is working properly for you and the ARGB is reacting fine, just happened that some of the functions is not functioning properly, things like the PWM fan is not reacting, or the problems that I have right now. In fact, if you to see the stats on the CPU itself, the temperature will stay if I were to run at load, which I'm going to show you here. So as you know that when you run at load, right, by right your temperature should go up, but my temperature did not go up, it stays this. So there are some issues with the readings over here. Else, if I were to do my GPU, which I'm going to run over here, so as you can see here, right, if you to compare, okay, let me just cover this. If you compare the temperature over here, so it's increasing. There are some delays in the readings on Lian Li itself. Okay, let me just do a bench. Okay, see, now it did react, but there is a delay on it, so I'm having some issues on that. I will show you how to send or submit a log to the tech support, so they will be able to aid you with this. It's time to send a log to Lian Li, as I have some issue with the GPU readings. The temperature, it just stays there, it doesn't move, and my GPU is having some delays on the temperature readings. So how do I go by doing it? Go to the official website from Lian Li. Under L-Connet 3, there's this FAQ. Click on it. Then scroll down, you have this tech support. Select the necessary field. Select your country, and etc. The model itself, I would say L-Connet 3. For serial number, right, if you do not know which serial number to find from your AL or the SL fans or even the Strimer Plus, you can click this, then it will show you where to find the serial number. For AL and SL fans, it's in fact on the daisy chain connector itself, so we can see this is the serial number. For Strimer Plus, right, will be underneath your cables. As you can see, this is a triple pin, this is the 24 pin. So this is rather troublesome. I'd rather you find the AL and the SL serial number if you have, unless you only have the Strimer Plus equipped, then you got no choice but to unplug your Strimer Plus. Or you can actually find on some of the accessory box, right? For mine, I do not have the serial number, but some have it, which is indicated on this website itself. This is the serial number. Once you have actually done everything, like finding out the serial number, type the serial number in. Then on L-Connet, right, what's your previous condition? As in, like, did you use the L-Connet 2 and such? If it works, just indicate. And if it doesn't work on the current version, right, just indicate over here. There are 3 selections. Then select the issue. What are you having? For me, it's system info, whereby my CPU and GPU is not picking up the data. So I'll select this. Upload any screenshots. I will show you how to make use of the window snipping tool later on doing the screenshots for the L-Connet, which is this. To upload these 3 log files, right, there will be a problem whereby if you do upload, let's say upload.gpuzres log, right, I'll just find the log. I know that it's recited in C drive and under program files, L-Connet 3 resources. See, the file is over here. If I'm going to upload this, see what happens. It will say file unvalid. So in such event, right, same goes to this. If I were to upload the L-Connet 3 app log, so it's down here. See, this is what happened. So in such event, right, how do you go by okay, let me just try again. See, so how do I go by uploading your files? Simply to zip all your files. You can do it on the run, which is this. Then compress on Windows default, right, compress the folder, so it will provide, this will create on your desktop itself. So I've done that. So do the creation and the log for this. Okay, this is actually for this one. So I'll do the compression again, and the last one is the system log. So first thing, upload the GPU res log, which I click over here. It's on my desktop. This is the one. Probably you need to name it first. So I'll just grab this, and as the file is stated as .zip, so probably you give it a name. Okay, select this, say it uploads without failure. Then next will be the L-Connet app log, and the last one is the system log, which is this. This is done. This section is to show you how to do screenshots and to upload in this section. Screenshot of the L-Connet 3 dashboard, whereby I'm having the issue with the GPU and the CPU readings, so I'll do a screenshot over here and to provide them with the system specs. If you have others like the fans or maybe the synchronization of the ARGB itself, right, the problems, you can do the screenshot too. This is also very important, whereby it shows the version under settings, update, show you the version of the L-Connet 3 application and all the firmwares. Now, in order to do the screenshot, go to the search of Windows, type in snipping tool, launch it, select rectangular mode, click on new, and on the dashboard itself, right, press on your left mouse button, hold on it, and scroll down. This is the region that you want to take. Let go of the mouse button, and you have this. And of course, you can save it on your dashboard. Then probably you name it. Example, let's say I just put this as a spec. Then once you've done this, right, you can do another one, of course. So if I were to switch over here, right, you can do another one. Then save again. I would say this CPU reading, just an example. Then once you've done all the screenshots, click here and upload. See? Once you've done all this, right, followed by the description, type in what's your issue, etc., unable to blah blah blah, so and so. Then fill up your info, as in your name, your email address, your home address, your town, your city, your province, your state, postal code, phone number. This section here is very important, whereby you will need to upload your official receipt of the device that you're reporting. And once you have submitted, right, do allow them to diagnose your issues and to contact you via email. They will respond definitely and to give you a fix on it. Now, besides waiting for them for a reply, it will be good if you can proceed back to the original page, which is L-Connet. Then under download itself, right, there is this to be update version and check log. Probably you can come back to this website and to check what are the updates they have actually done. See, they will tell you what are the things they will be doing. Current version is this. If there is any updates, right, it will be updated over here so that you will not miss out on the updates. There you have it, showing you my experience on how to install the L-Connet 3 on my PC itself and to resolve some issues. And for those of you who have submitted the log file to Lian Li tech support, right, do take note that they will respond to you. You just take time and do check out the chain log on the L-Connet 3, which I've mentioned in the page itself. Now, speaking of which, right, earlier on I did mention that to get a hub splitter for USB itself. Now, the reason to have this, right, most motherboard come with either one or two USB header. So if you have more controllers like I do, you might need to purchase a separate unit. This is actually the USB splitter, or should I say the USB hub. Make sure you get a hub that comes with a SATA source that draws power straight from your PSU. If you were to just get the splitter, right, that might not work, as there's not enough voltage to provide when you connect to the controllers and to your motherboard header. So make sure you use this. Now, speaking of which, right, the controller itself, as I mentioned to you for the original Strimer itself, it doesn't come with this controller. So in later date, right, probably I would say early May or mid-May, they will come out with this Strimer Plus version 2 controller, which I believe this comes with the engineering sample, which I believe this is the real packing, which is like that. The controller and cables for Strimer Plus V2. You will only be able to control the Strimer Plus cables, right, with this control unit itself. Alright, that's it. Hope you guys have actually enjoyed my video, and for those of you who are actually new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you like my content, do remember to subscribe and to click on the notification bell button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see ya.